Gayatri. Um, I'm very excited to introduce Gayatri to you guys. She's going to talk about community service, what it is, how it is, and answer any questions you guys may have about community service. And we're happy to kind of support you guys through this process. I'll let Gayatri introduce herself, and I will let you guys take this forward. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Avita. Hello, everybody. My name is Gayatri. I work with Cuddles Foundation. Cuddles Foundation works towards providing nutritional support to pediatric cancer patients in government and charity hospitals. We work in close to 42 hospitals across India. Right? A little bit about me. I lead the student chapter. We call the student chapter the Young Heroes program at Cuddles Foundation. And what we do here is provide or carve out holistic volunteering and fundraising opportunities for students. Yeah, can we go on the next slide, please? So we are here to talk about community service today, how and uh, why and how. Avita, I do not have access to this thing. Can you move to the next slide? Great. What is community service? Everyone knows this. It's work done by a person or a group of people for the benefit of others. Very simple, very basic, right? Can we go to the next slide, please? So here, and why is community service important in your profile? Right? Most of the students who are sitting here will be applying to colleges in the US, and that is when the question of profile comes into play, right? What is your profile? By that, when an admissions officer is looking at it, it means who are you as a person, right? A lot of students have their extracurricular activities, their acads to show, and here community service can be handy as a great extracurricular activity, but it can be great only if it is approached the right way. Now, what do you mean by approaching it the right way? Let's divide it into a few parts, right? One is, when a student has done it with a purpose, it has to be done with a purpose. By that, most high school students check off community service as another thing. It cannot be a check box for you. While volunteering is a great thing to do and something everyone should try and participate in, the schools can tell if your volunteer work is shallow or if it is done at a superficial level. So better if you do it with a purpose in mind. The second thing is long-term commitment. What does that mean over here? When I say long-term commitment, is basically you need to engage with the foundation that you choose to work with again and again. It cannot be sporadically done over, like you connect with or engage with the organization once in 2 months, 3 months, or with your activity once a year. No, if you have to show long term commitment, it also shows your passion towards the project. I will give an example of a student who came to us, and she had done 10, 15 different things, had many, many hours of work, volunteer work on with her. But end of the day, she was not close to any organization that she had worked with. She did not have, she had not learned about the organizations in depth. She did not know what most of the organizations did actually, where she had volunteered. So it cannot be done at a superficial level just to accumulate hours. You are spending so many hours. Do it with purpose. So it's better to stick to one or two things, but do it better or do it well over a period of time. For example, if you engage with one organization throughout your high school years, your grade 9, 10th, 11th, and 12th, so you can come to the organization doing smaller projects. Maybe when you have more time, you do a bigger project, but keep consistent with one organization. That shows your long-term commitment towards the cause, the long-term commitment towards your passion into doing something. For another example, if someone has a great extracurricular activity like, for example, playing a piano, which you have done over the years, tie it with community service, right? My love for piano, because I love to play piano, I volunteered with an organization which did some music therapy for their beneficiaries, right? Or I organized a musical fundraiser where I played some pieces of piano and raised funds. And in the long run, I helped this organization. So maybe your passion project towards community service can become a full like a big activity, or your bigger extracurricular like your piano or your sports. Through that you can support some organization, and then it can be, community service can be an add on in your profile. Right now, leadership, if you are engaged with any organization for some time, right, for over say a year, think about every volunteering or fundraising opportunity a little critically. What are you offering? What are you getting in return? What are you learning in the process? Right? Do you think you can take any project where you lead the project for that not for profit, or for that uh, uh, for that can you take it, can you be the leader and execute something from scratch? So I will give an example here. We have a student from the red pen only who came to us and wanted to explore doing something, but he took Cuddles Foundation to his school. He spoke with his colleagues, he spoke with the administration in school, and then did a very big show in school, created awareness about childhood cancer, did bake sales, and finally did a very big fashion show. What did he learn over here? Event management, um, negotiating with vendors, getting people together, organizing an entire event from scratch, mobilizing his community. All these are, uh, you know, can seem like small things, but it showcases his leadership qualities. He could actually hold the whole event on his shoulders, and that is a big deal. The project went on for a year. They prepared for a year. Also shows the long term commitment, right? And um, this can actually, this is also very important when you're looking at your community service thing. What did you learn? Yes, you can showcase your leadership qualities, and this is a very, very big deal. And the last and the most important thing is the impact. What impact are you creating when you are doing any uh, fundraising or volunteering, right? Not the impact that the organization has made, but your particular project. How has it helped the organization? Um, Basically, if you are planning a fundraiser, how has the organization used that money? How many people have actually been helped with that money? What are the impact numbers? So, as I told you, Cuddles Foundation provides nutritional aid to pediatric cancer patients. We have a lot of students who come to us and we tell them that, listen, impact is very important. You have done a fundraiser. Yes, let us show impact. So, we give them a utilization certificate, as in how was that money used by us? How many ration baskets were distributed? How many nutritional supplements were given to beneficiaries? Or how many children were you able to support for 1 month? Basically, any document which shows the impact that you have made is very, very helpful, very beneficial. Also, it's good for you to know how your work has been rewarded. right? How much impact, even if it is one child that you can support, or even if you're teaching somewhere, even if you take one child from one step to the next, it is impact. So most important is focus on impact. So here, just try and avoid anything which is done superficially. Stick to one or two things and do it well, and that is how it should be. Can we go to the next slide? Great. Now, no, yeah. Now, what are colleges looking at? I think all the mentors at Red Pen will be, uh, you know, far more equipped to talk about this than me, but I'm going to take a jab at it. Please correct me if I go wrong anywhere. Yeah. So, what are colleges looking for? They are looking for well rounded students. They are looking for students who are problem solvers. They are looking for someone who's authentic, who's genuine, uh, who can show, you know, different things that they have done. So where does community service fit in here, right? Through your community service, there are a lot of things that you can showcase, that you can work with different kind of people. You can work with a diverse group of people. You can also, showcase when you are doing any activity, your consistency with, uh, being there. Uh, so the other thing the colleges are looking at is students committed to making a sustained impact. And that is where the long-term commitment comes in, the one that I discussed in the slide before. How are you committed to a particular cause, and how have you been working through 2-3 years and getting and learning at the same time? We have a student who came to us when she turned 11 and started with very small projects where her capabilities lied, right? From from collecting books and giving it in the hospital, to, making cards for the doctors for Doctors' Day. She started small. But every year, twice or thrice a year, she kept coming from the time she had turned 11. Um, to the extent that last year she did a big internship. She's now in grade 10th and did a very big internship with us, wherein, we were surveying, we had to carry out some surveys in the hospitals, and she went to the hospitals, did the surveys, and got it to us. Over the period of years, she has every year done 2 or 3 things for us. Wherever she goes out, she talks about Cuddles Foundation because she's genuinely invested in the cause. So unless you are genuinely invested in something, you feel strongly about it, you should not look at a tick box when it comes to community service. So this is one thing. So with her example, she has been showing sustained impact which lasts, right? So this is long term and sustained impact. The other way to look at sustained impact is, there is another example that I like to give you. So 3 years back in Cuddles Foundation, we got a group of students who said, we want to do something so that we take care of one child for 1 year. The amount is not too big, but they constantly kept doing something. Now they were in grade 12 and they were passing out of school. Um, Basically, they had so much fun arranging smaller things, doing something or the other, and then donating to Cuddles, that they said, okay, we had a lot of fun. And in the in the other thing that happened was someone was getting help somewhere. They didn't want to stop it, so they started grooming their juniors and said, hey, listen, we did this as a school level activity. Now there is someone has to take on this thing, and every year it should continue. Right, today most of them are doing their undergrad, but the program lives on in their school. Right, so whatever they started, it's still making an impact, and the baton is passed from one grade to the juniors, and they take over as a project next year. So look at something like that. It's very creative how they did it. And every year we send the utilization report or the details of how that money was spent to the entire, the cohort which helped us in the 3 years. Yes, the third thing that colleges look at is consistency. How consistent are you with anything that you do? Do you stick to what you do? There should at least be one or two things that you do consistently. And here, community service can come to your aid, right? Consistently support one thing, know about that thing. Don't be superficial and just consistently keep doing that. And that shows your deeper involvement in anything, and that shows a student's it basically, all these things are your character certificate for any college. So consistency is another thing. And the last thing is honesty, authenticity. How honest are you about doing anything? How honest are you about, you know, your cause? So honesty plays a big role. And don't say that I have done 100 things when you've done one. It gets caught. People, they find out. So that, Avita, can we go to the next slide? Right. Now, community service and your college application. So how does that work, right? Uh, Basically, how will you use your community service when it comes to your college application? Uh, so UCs and the Common App portal, they have section for extracurriculars. If you have a passion project where you have done community service, it can come to your aid there. There are multiple things like your academics have to go on these apps. We use the Common App. Um, at Cuddles, we have seen the Common App, and where I've seen the different sections, and uh, your community service can be one thing that you can upload on the Common App. It shows what extra have you done other than studying in these years that you have been in your school, right? Also, your community service experiences can be used in the essays that you write. Again, that's why it is very important to have a holistic out, because only those ones will be will stand out. Those experiences will stand out when you write your essays. So look at community service also as an opportunity to make your profile stand out, and that will happen only if it is done genuinely and if it is done with utmost honesty. Right now, I just want to give two examples of students who had come to us and how uh, their projects stood out. So the first one, yes, student one, right? Student one is a state level badminton player. She is a fitness enthusiast, and she came to us and she registered for the Tata Mumbai Marathon. Uh, she was eligible to run two races. One is the Dream Run, which is 5.9 kilometers, and the other one was the open 10-kilometer race. She chose to run the 10-kilometer race, right? Uh, since she's a fitness enthusiast, it completely like that. Her extracurricular was a sport, which is badminton. So it weaves in very beautifully, like badminton player, fitness enthusiast, and that's why I ran the marathon and raised funds. But here, what she did was she really strategized her fundraising campaign. She started her fundraiser on uh, the United Way platform, and then she made WhatsApp groups of people who are friends and family of her parents, and she started with saying, I'm going to run the marathon and I'm going to start my training. Every day after she ran a few kilometers or how she was progressing, she would put it on the group saying, I have done so much today, I'm feeling much better, but I think I need to strength train. She started her strength training journey, and again he kept everyone updated. Then she told a few people that, listen, you don't pay me a lot of money right now. With every milestone, with every kilometer that I run extra, you pay me an X amount, right? So people were very invested now in her doing well also. So she kept everyone engaged. Once she reached a certain point, then with UWM, you can approach corporates for CSR, right? So she uh, wrote to a few corporates saying, hey, I'm a student and this is a great opportunity. So she learned the CSR bit about it. How does CSR work? What kind of receipts, certificates, utilization do CSR needs? Um, Basically, she learned the whole thing, and then she went. She wrote to corporates. Then she engaged the corporate saying, "Why don't if I raise a certain amount, you match that amount? So if I raise 1 lakh, you match it with one more lakh. If by the end of the fundraiser, right? So she got two corporates who told her that okay, we will match it. And then one corporate, like one HNI, he told her that listen, how much time are you thinking that you'll finish the race? So she was clocking in 65 minutes, which is 1 hour and 5 minutes. So she was clocking in 65. So I said, if you clock in at 65, I will pay you a certain amount. And if you take 1 more minute extra, 1,000 rupees will be less. But if you finish in 64, whatever amount I've committed to you, I will give you 1,000 more. She found three other people and she said, okay, fine, you do the exact same thing. She finished the race in 62 minutes and raised a whopping 8 lakhs, right? We gave her a utilization certificate where we could distribute 178 ration bundles. And the ration bundles are the ones that we give out is not just for the child, but for a family of four people. So she could support 178 families in that month. But very beautifully, she strategized it. It shows her leadership skills. It shows what did she learn in this thing, right? Yes, her fitness and all was great, but she learned how to talk to people, how to strategize, come up with new ideas and execute it. And that's what she did. And that is what um, helped her in her application, right? And then the impact. With her 8 lakhs, she could help 178 families. And that is a very, very big impact number. So that is how, yeah, so this is student one. Can we go to the last slide? Student two believed in zero waste. He started his company called Glass Up, and what he did was he collected empty alcohol bottles from friends, family, did major, in his building, in his neighborhood, and then he created bespoke candles out of these bottles, right? He used to participate for a good 1.5 years. He participated in all exhibitions in Delhi. That's where he comes from. And all the profits he donated to cuts. So after every exhibition, he would transfer some money, and he did that for 1.5 years. Right? He was applying. He wanted to study business and entrepreneurship. So he started his own business. So with his company and this thing, he learned about how a business works. Showed leadership skills when he decided how to sell it, how to mobilize his friends and take their help. And because he was with us for a good 1.5 years, his long-term commitment. Now he's leaving for college this August, and he has groomed one more of his cousins, and who's going to carry on this work, right? So that also shows sustained impact. So he might go to college to the US, but the company lives. So this is student 2 point. Yeah, so I think this is all I have to say, Avita. Any questions from anyone?
Does anyone want to kind of maybe discuss their own projects and maybe we can see if there's something that we can explore, or do you guys have any questions about how you can start a community project, engagement project in your area? Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
we would. I would definitely love to hear, what kind of projects can a kid who's interested in bio and computers do?
yeah. Sorry, I wasn't able to see who asked that question.
I'm Dipali.
Hi, Diwali. Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I'm not able to see. So, I mean, in terms of biology and computers, we can definitely look at doing something like a hackathon, which is, raising funds for maybe a local hospital or some sort of research where they're looking at maybe something in biology that they're interested in. Or it can be something as simple as just starting maybe like a community garden where you use AI to help water the plant. Because that is something with biology, you're, growing plants, you're helping with the biodiversity of everything, but you've used AI to kind of, control the water filtration systems and things like that. So there's a really good way to kind of combine the both the interests without it being something that's, I have to work in a lab or something like that. Or, even with cuddles, as you saw with the last student, if your child is interested in computer science and they do something like a hackathon and raise money, they could easily raise money for the Cuddles Foundation. And that can be the link with sort of biology because they're helping with sort of, hospitals and cancer research and things like that. So there's a lot of ways that we can kind of play around with the interests.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else have any other questions or any thing else? Do you guys want to talk to Gayatri about how you can volunteer with Cuddles or anything like that?
Hey, hi Avita. This is Dr. Reena here. How are you?
Good. How are you? Hi,
Yeah,
Rina.
yeah, good. Thank you. So, as just mentioned on the thing, I just wanted to just ask that in case, whatever like extracurriculars we've been doing, for example, about the community service. So that can be a part of our essay, like the ongoing essay that we would be doing as an application.
Yeah, it definitely can. It can be used to explain the interest or their unique viewpoint. So kind of using maybe student one that Gayatri had talked about, they're a big fitness student. So if that student is applying for maybe sports science or medicine or something, they can kind of really talk about how fitness led them to working with the Cuddles Foundation. They did all this, they raised all this money, and that is why they're really interested in sports science because it's that intersection of their interest within fitness and what they're really, and that's how they sort of got that link with community service. We can also kind of tie it the other way in terms of the corporate social responsibility if they want to do something with business, and they can talk about the skills that they developed to try to reach out to these organizations, the negotiation, the organization, the kind of ability to write these emails, the communication skills, and that can be a large part of what they talk about in the essays as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anyone else have any questions? Anyone else want to maybe think about, what they could do if they did want to volunteer with Cuddles or anything like that? Okay. So if there's no more questions, I will thank Gayatri for taking her time and speaking with you guys. We will be sending her email to you guys. So if at any point you do want to just ask like, hey, I have an interest in this. Is this something that I can do to volunteer with you? Or is there some sort of project that I could potentially do to support you guys? Definitely reach out to her. And, if you want to chat it out with your consultant as well, we're happy to kind of discuss this with you in more detail, and then we can reach out together to Gayatri. But until then, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with our students. We hope you guys learned something. We hope you guys can walk away kind of thinking about what you want to do in terms of community engagement. Have a lovely weekend. Have a good Friday, and we will see you guys when we see you guys next for our meeting. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Avita. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Bye. Subha, can you stop recording?